Hi, my name is Dan Eisner, and I'm a psychiatric occupational therapist as well as a personal coach, and I've created a little video for you here that I'm confident will give you an entirely new perspective on addiction. I'm calling it The Truth About Addiction, How a Basic Understanding Will Set You Free. What most of us don't recognize is that addiction is simply part of the human condition. We're all made of the same stuff, and emotions are at the center of it all, and emotions are, of course, at the center, at the core of human behavior. What a lot of us don't recognize is that emotions are the most addictive chemicals in the universe. The same cell receptor sites that heroin binds to, as an example, are the same cell receptor sites that our emotions bind to. So any personality problem that a person has really is an addiction. Being a complainer, that's an addiction. Being a control freak, that's an addiction. Worrying, that's incredibly addictive. Overeating, being a know-it-all, drama queen, road rager. These are all literally chemically based addictions. Now, most of us don't recognize it as those things, and what we do is we tend to point the finger and judge people who have more of the traditional addictions, such as alcohol and drugs. And the reason that a lot of us do that is because this really gives us a false sense of superiority, when the truth is, on the inside, we're really in pain. And I know this might sound strange, but this is the truth. And the reality is, a person who really feels at peace and is really comfortable in their own skin would never judge another person, for the simple fact that when you judge another person, it just doesn't feel very good internally. Well, let's talk more specifically about how this really works and how it really does come down to emotion. Well, I like to think of emotions as like clouds in our head. Now, what happens is we might get a little bit upset about something and we get a little cloud. Well, if we weren't so addicted to our emotions, it wouldn't be a problem. But what so many of us do, including myself, is I might get a little worry about money, and then I start thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to have enough money, and what am I going to do? I might lose my job, and then these clouds build up so fast, so quickly. Well, sometimes when I get really stressed like this, I decide, you know what, I'm going to go pick up one of those Frappuccinos I like from Starbucks. The funny thing happens, as soon as I get that idea to pick up that drink, even before I get that drink, I start to feel better. Those clouds literally start to go away. That's the chemical fix that I sometimes get by doing what's easy and natural for me. And then, of course, I take that, I get my Frappuccino, I feel all better, feel fantastic, and then, of course, later on, when it wears off, boom, happens so fast, so quickly. I think we can all relate to this. Well, the addiction, again, it's not about the substance, and I've never had a substance abuse problem in my life, but I've got plenty of addictions. And one of my favorites, one of my drugs of choice, is depression. Very easy for me to feel depressed if I don't practice what I preach. A lot of times I wake up in the morning and I'm already like this. And sometimes, if it's a particularly rough morning, I start to think, you know what, maybe I could just sleep a little, an hour, just an extra hour. Oh, does that feel good? And then sometimes I say, you know what, maybe I could just take this day off. You know what, it's not going to hurt anything. I'm just going to call out sick today. And man, does that feel so good. Until, of course, I wake up 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours later, and it's a million times worse than it was before. So, as you can see, addiction has very little to do with the substance. It's all about emotion. And the key to managing our emotions is committing to improving your emotional intelligence. And what emotional intelligence is kind of means what it sounds like, being smart or being intelligent about our emotions. That starts with understanding what we're feeling and why we're feeling it, and knowing how we can, change our thinking and behavior to improve the way that we feel. But what it really boils down to, it's all about self-awareness. And what most of us don't recognize is that we dramatically overestimate just how self-aware we are. Michael Scott on The Office is a perfect example of this. It's real easy to look at him and see how he's so crazy and can't see what he's doing. But to look at ourselves is an entirely different story. But the truth is, that is the only way we can really break free of addiction. And that's what Key Insight Coaching is really all about, It's giving you the insight and the knowledge base so that you can really, truly break free of your addiction once and for all. So if you'd like more information, I invite you to visit keyinsightcoaching.com. You can also email me at daneisner33@gmail.com. I'm currently offering private coaching services as well as group coaching services at Erica Martin Counseling and Associates. And if you're interested in group coaching services, you can reach her at ericamartinllc@gmail.com for more information on that group. I thank you for listening, and I hope our paths cross in the near future.